This part is an automotive brake rotor. The casting and the machining are unique parts with separate part numbers and drawings. They are stored in separate files, but the two are closely related. Let's look at two workflows you might use to create the casting and machining assembly. Note that you should already have a basic knowledge of assemblies. First, we create the casting part centered on the datum coordinate system. We will use the same coordinate system location in both parts. Create an assembly and add the cast part to it. Create a new file for the machining and add it to the assembly. In the Assembly Navigator, double-click the machining part to make it the work part. Use the Wave Geometry Linker command to create a linked body of the casting. Turn off the setting Fix at Current Timestamp so that any features added later to the casting will also be copied to the machining. The next step is to add the machining features to the machined part. Each machining feature removes material from the linked body. Brian, do you see any issues with this assembly structure?
In this first workflow, the casting and machining are components in the same assembly. The assembly is required to create the linked body, but not to update it. A potential issue with this workflow is managing which revision of the cast part is associated with which revision of the machined part. An alternative workflow is to add the cast part as a component to the machined part. With this workflow, there are only two files to maintain, and the machining is always associated to the correct version of the casting.
Using this first method, you can either design the cast part first and then remove material in the machined part, or you can design the machined part first and then add casting allowance. This method is also easy for a designer to understand, because the two parts are equal pairs of one another in a parent assembly.
This method follows a typical manufacturing process where an assembly is fabricated from a bill of materials. The bill of materials for the brake rotor happens to contain only one component. But you could easily extend this assembly structure to machined parts with inserts or welded parts that are fabricated from more than one component.